On my previous videos, I've talked about how Majin Absorption and Namekian Fusion could work as awoken skills. But there is still a large part of the community that thinks they couldn't work in the middle of a match. Like actually fusing with your teammate in a match or actually absorbing your enemies. But it is completely possible, and today we're going to talk about how Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3 could add Namekian Fusion and Majin Absorption. Now, adding Namekian Fusion is super simple and won't take that much time to explain, so we're going to talk about that first. A very simple way to do it is if your ally is KO'd, you can go to them and instead of reviving them with the flash revive or the regular revive, you have an option to just absorb them right there. And some of you guys may be thinking, Rompatch, that sounds kind of useless. Listen, if you have watched any of the 3 Idiot Raid videos, you know there is a lot of times where these guys almost win. There's one guy left, but they barely lose. Situations like this happen in parallel quests, extra missions, raid bosses, and even team PvP matches. Reviving your allies can be really hard because you have to get close to them and lock onto them. And that can be really hard to do when someone's actively trying to attack you. And if you want to use the flash revive, that takes up health. But in really tough situations like this, if you can just go to your homie, quickly absorb them, get a massive power boost, you can clutch out the win easily. Now, no matter what I say, some of you guys are still going to think that this would be useless in the game. And you're fully free to have that opinion, but that's not why I'm making this video. My videos on how to add fusion in this video are because people are constantly saying that these things are impossible to add. But that is entirely not true. From a gameplay perspective, these things can be added, they can be balanced, and they can be added in simple ways. All it takes is for someone to actually sit down and think, okay, if I actually want to add this, how would this work from a game design standpoint? And after taking some time to actually think, anyone can think of how to add these to the game. You don't have to be some type of genius to make these things work. But back to Namekian Fusion, you are literally sacrificing your bros for a power-up. And until they add Force Spirit Fission, you won't be able to do this until the match is over. So I think the power-up needs to be very big. 1, I think your health, ki, and stamina should get fully recovered. And you should get a XL boost to all of your stats. And just like in the show, this should be stackable. Piccolo was able to absorb Nail and Kami, and the Xenoverse 6 Namekians absorbed their entire race. So if you're in a 3v3 match, you could potentially get a double XL boost to all of your stats if you absorb both of your teammates. And if you're on a extra mission or raid boss, you could potentially get a 5 XL boost. I can already imagine the videos of people soloing extra missions or soloing raid bosses, being a crazy powerful quintuple Namekian fusion. Now, this might sound broken for PvP matches, but it really won't be. Even if they do have an option to immediately absorb your teammates in the beginning of the match, you're not just going to solo the enemy team like that. A double XL boost is strong, but if you get jumped by 3 people, you are going to get cooked, bro. That's why Namekian Fusion would be best used as a last resort trump card. A great way to secure a victory, but if you use it too soon, you're pretty much just going to be shooting yourself in the foot. Also, both people have to agree for the fusion to happen. Just like with dual ultimates, both people have to press the button prompt. That way you can't pull a Griffith and just force the fusion on people. Now we can move on to Majin Absorption. Now, before I talk about what absorption can do, I want to talk about what it can't do. Just like body change, you won't be able to use absorption on story mode quests, parallel quests, raid missions, all that. It has to be like that because body change and absorption would completely break those quests. And so this move isn't overpowered by being an instant one-shot, this move would function like Breaker Energy Wave, so you can only use it when someone's on red HP. And personally, I think you should also be able to use it on KO'd opponents. So the only time you're going to be able to use this type of absorption is on player matches. And if you want to actually benefit from it, it's going to have to be in a team match. That might sound bad, but that's literally how it worked in the show. If Super Buu only had to fight Gotenks, then it wouldn't matter if he killed him or absorbed him. But because he also had to fight against Gohan, absorbing Gotenks was very useful because he got a power-up. The same logic applies. It might not be that crazy in a 1v1, but in a team match, this thing will be crazy useful. And not just because of the power-up, there's another effect of absorption. And I think the second effect is even better because when you absorb someone, you take them out of the battle. In a regular battle, when someone gets KO'd, their team still has a chance to revive them, or if they have the Zamasu Super Soul on, they can revive themselves. But with absorption, that all goes out the window. You're absorbed and now you're inside their body. I want to reiterate in my previous video talking about Majin Awoken skills, I talked about how absorption could work from a awoken skill standpoint. That type would change your clothes, your skills, and even your stats. But to keep things simple, this type of absorption won't do that. This is just a simple stat boost and a way to take your opponent out the game. I could see this being a ultimate just like body change. With Namekian fusion, you're sacrificing an entire teammate, so the buffs have to be really big. But with absorption, you're not sacrificing anything, you're only gaining. So instead of getting a full heal and a XL boost, you will only get a large boost to all of your stats. But I do think you should get assist effects whenever you absorb somebody. For those of you who don't know, assist effects are what happens whenever you're KO'd and you give someone energy, or when you use Emperor's Sign. That's why Emperor's Sign gives such a crazy speed boost when used by a Freezer race, because the Freezer race assist effect is a speed boost. Saiyans increase damage, Namekians increase healing. I think that would be a nice cherry on top to absorbing people. Now, there are other ways for absorption to work, but before I talk about that, I want to talk about something else. I've heard people say that we shouldn't have absorption in Dragon Ball Xenoverse because it's like evil and crazy malicious. Guys, this is a video game. We have to remember that. You literally get hit by Candy Beam, and 3 seconds later, you just go back to normal. You get hit by Divorce Stone Spit, you just go back to normal anyway. It's the same with body change. Whenever you use that, people get their bodies back when the match is over. This is a video game. There is no reason to put silly limitations on these moves, unless you're trying to mix in the lore for game balancing, like Super Saiyan 3 having really bad key issues. Also, ignoring the fact that this is a video game, we know that in the show, Majin Buu can spit people out. In Dragon Ball GT, he absorbed Mr. Satan in Pan, but later just spit them out. In Dragon Ball Daima, he did it with Kibito Kai so he could reverse the fusion. And even in Dragon Ball Z, we see Kid Buu choose to spit out Fat Buu. Also, when it comes to absorbing people, you can either choose the Candy Beam method or the Blob version. People forget this, but Majin Buu can still absorb people when he's made them into candy. The main signifier of you being a regular candy versus an absorption candy is that whenever he's going to absorb you, the person is like a mini chocolate version of themselves. That's what Grey Buu did with Fat Buu, that's what Fat Buu did with Mr. Satan and Pan, but I would prefer the regular old Blob version. But both versions of absorption are in Dragon Ball The Breakers, with the candy version and with the Blob version absorbing the CAC. But speaking of Dragon Ball The Breakers, in that game, whenever Buu absorbs you, you actually go inside of him. Now, I doubt that would be a thing for regular matches, but in Crystal Raid Boss mode, when your character becomes the Raid Boss, I could see them doing something similar to the Mind Control move. But instead of the Mind Control move that sends you to a different dimension where you fight yourself, there could be a Raid Boss version of the absorption skill where they get sent inside your body. And just like Mind Control, they don't have to be on Raid HP. And this is literally not asking for too much. No, this is already in Dragon Ball The Breakers, a game that was made by the same people that made Xenoverse 2 and runs on the same engine as Xenoverse 2. But I do want to talk about another idea I've seen for absorption. Shout out to Chris2024 for dropping this idea in my comment section. And I've also seen this idea in other people's comment section too. Basically, this idea for absorption is that it'll work like Kirby does in Smash Bros. You absorb your opponent, but you spit them out instantly, and then you're able to steal some of their attacks. The only thing I would like to add to this version is that I think you should still get the assist effects of whoever you absorb. But that is pretty much the end of this video. Let me know how you think absorption should work in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3. I got more videos coming soon. God bless. I will catch you guys later.